Welcome into another episode of Cut Ups with me. I'm your co-host Darnell Porter, and my co-host, the man at the wheel, who takes us through film session every week. My man Toski in the building. I want to first say uh, apologies for last week. I know we promised you guys a bye-week episode, but craziest thing happened. I swear, me and Toski both fell ill. It was kind of funny. He texted me and was like, "Hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm not gonna be able to do it this week." And I was like, "Funny thing, you text me. I just left the ER. I wasn't feeling well either." And so it just ended up happening like that. But we missed you guys. We got a lot to go over tonight. While we're getting everything set up, I want you guys to go send this to your local Michigan fans. Go blow up the Michigan Ball Talk chat. Let everybody know we're live. Send it to a friend. Let them know, hey, we're about to go over the Northwestern film. I'm super excited to attack this film because what's crazy, Toski, is I felt like if I could call this game anything for Bryce Underwood, it was a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type game where we saw Mr. Hyde for 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter, Dr. Jekyll came out and said, "Hey, don't forget about me. I'm here. I'm gonna rear my ugly head. I know you miss me. You haven't seen me in a while. Oh, you saw me at the Purdue game. Michigan fans, I know y'all want to see me again." And so I can't wait to see how you break this down. Can't wait to learn even more from you. I think Trevor and the crew over there announced that Jordan Marshall is day to day. He probably won't play this week. I know another report came out today that Bredesen is getting snaps at the running back position, so we will see more coups, which I'm pretty sure you're excited about. And then we had the emergence of Andrew Marsh. I mean, this kid is going to be special. Shout out to Chip Lindsey for finding a way to get this kid the rock. But now the new challenge is going to be, I think, for the next 2 weeks, is figuring out how defenses are going to try to bracket him to stop him from getting the ball. And so can't wait till you break down the film. How are you? How's everything been going? And once again, I appreciate everything you do for us, man. We really get a lot. I get a lot of DMs from people saying, "Hey, I like the video. I subscribe. I sent it to friends. You guys kill it every week." And that made me feel good because it makes me know that people actually watch it and gain something from it every week.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Glad you're feeling better. Yeah, last week was rough, but that's how it goes. Hey, at least it was a bye week, right? So we had our illness is new. It was a bye week. All right, we can we can take a week off with the team. But no, man, this game. If you told me Michigan lost the turnover battle 5-0, Michigan missed 2 field goals, and you said, what do you think the score was? I would have predicted Michigan lost that game by 17 points. I think it was the first time in an FBS versus FBS game where a team has been -5 in the turnover differential and still won the game. This never happened. So one of those where you just escape and survive. You're happy that you're still a part of the playoff discussion here. And Michigan did dominate outside of those missteps, and you can't ignore those missteps. Those are, of course, really important. And against a better team like Ohio State at the end of the year, if you take, even 1 or 2 of those missteps, let alone 5 or 6 or 7, it's you're not going to get the outcome that you saw today or you saw this weekend. So, yeah, you mentioned Marsh. I mean, what was it? 12 receptions, like 187 yards, something crazy like that. Both freshman program records right there. Yeah, man, he's true number 1 guy, the go-to guy for the passing game without a doubt. Obviously, run game looks solid, even though you mentioned Jordan Marshall day to day. I'm excited about Cuzdall. He showed off a lot of what I liked from the previous film analysis we did. So, and then, yeah, I mean, overall, like, it was just like a lot of good with a couple really brutal plays. Underwood, especially with, a fumble and the 2 picks that he had. It's just kind of all over the place where you do a lot right, but then some of those plays were really tough to handle. So, yeah, I'm excited to break it down because I think I came away with it really really enthused, because usually I try to select plays where it's like, okay, there's some good, some bad. I had a really, really hard time finding bad plays outside of the really, really, really bad. So it seemed like, sometimes there's a play where there'll be a 5-yard loss, whatever. It felt like every single bad play that Michigan did have in this resulted in a turnover, and that was it. Outside of those really bad plays, they played really well. So obviously, you want to clean up those mistakes, but I wasn't. It's one of those games where there is a lot to learn, and you're happy you came away with a W.
Yeah, I thought the defense did a good enough job considering how long they were on the field. And I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure you're gonna go over that too. But I thought it was great complimentary. Once again, I know we're gonna get to it, but I felt like this was one of Chip's best games that he called for Bryce at the beginning of the game. He got Bryce super comfortable, got him in rhythm with some real easy throws, something that we've been yelling at the screen of saying, and Bryce just completed them. Hopefully that carries over to Maryland this week. But
yeah.
let's get to it.
All right, let's dive in now. Both the quality, the angles. This is Wrigley Field, so keep that in mind when you're
Yep.
looking at this footage. I was curious, what's this going to look like, given it's a baseball stadium. I love Wrigley, but yeah. So like the scoreboard looks really weird. It's a weird experience, but bear with us here. We have the footage that we got. All right, so Michigan's driving just past the 50, little play action, wheel down the sideline here to Andrew Marsh. Just a great pickup right away. Go to number 4. That's the guy. Really like the play design. They did motion to bring him into the backfield. And then number one thing I like looking at here is the eyes for Bryce Underwood. So you can see him staring down number 6 right here. So you have Donovan McCulley coming out here. He's just a decoy route, but he's just running up the seam, keeping this safety inwards here. So because this is cover 2, you got 18 and number 6 here responsible for half the field. Because you have Donovan McCulley threatening down the hash here, that's what's keeping that safety number 6 engaged. And only at the very end here, you can see the eyes for Bryce Underwood. He's just selling this safety, saying, hey, you got to respect number 1 down the seam. And then he shifts over really quickly over to that. So that's trusting your play. That's a really good job from a freshman, knowing how long the play will take to develop, recognizing it's cover 2, right, where the whole shot is for cover 2, because you have something threatening here up the seam. The whole shot is going to be right here, because this guy will only take him so far vertical. He has some underneath responsibilities here in the flat. So the safety can get over the top, probably around the 35 or a little bit higher there, but this is going to be open. So it's all about timing, all about keeping those eyes, boom, then you hit it. And that's where Bryce Underwood, the timing is starting to get there, and looking really fluid with that. So I like how his feet he looks really comfortable in the pocket here as well, where he's just static, boom, no wasted movement. Footwork was something continuing to watch when he's under pressure, things like that he was getting a little squirrely. So it's all about building back that confidence with him. And this is a nice play. I can't remember last time we saw, if at all, Andrew Marsh coming out of the backfield like that. So nice little play design, and get your quarterback with a big completion right away. Okay, moving into 2nd and 7 here. Michigan now on the 11-yard line. Got Zach Marshall in motion here. Now, this was something, there was a sack earlier on this drive as well that I think Northwestern did a really good job at. So looking at the pressure, they're slanting immediately to the right, and they're bringing number 13 off the edge. So I think this is scouting of Northwestern, recognizing where does Bryce Underwood go when he ducks out of the pocket. So they're sending this guy upfield here with the goal of creating a lane for Bryce Underwood to escape forward and go to his right. That's where he likes to go. You'll see number 33 here. I think it's 33, but you'll see someone coming and spilling over to this left side. Yeah, it's 33 there, recognizing, hey, he's going to be flush from the pocket. He's going to step out, try to roll to his right, and boom, 33 is there. So this is just good scouting from Northwestern, recognizing, hey, we're going to slant here. We're going to create, go around the outside. We're going to create this pocket, make it seem like he can duck out. That's where he likes to escape. and fill that gap here with 33. So that's a tendency that you have to break. And usually what you would like your quarterback to do, that Bryce Underwood did try later in this game, we'll get to that as well, is you want him to step up here. Don't duck out yet, but just step up. You don't need to escape right now. You have a clean pocket, right? Right here, it's a good blitz pickup from Jordan Marshall, which is good development. Obviously, he's probably out next week, so it's a bummer. But it's good development for him to pick up that blitz, both recognition and picking that up. But if you pause right here, you still got a good pocket. You don't need to duck out here if you're Bryce Underwood. You can recognize this pressure coming, but you got to trust that your running back will pick that up, right? So just stay here, step up, and you have some crossing route concepts coming for Michigan. One of these will be open. And if he stepped up right here instead of ducked out, you can see this is a prime target because it looks like man coverage here. No one's on him, right? Number 33 is going up here. So that's going to vacate an area for this crosser to be wide open. So unfortunately, because Bryce Underwood got squirrely there, ducked out, he ran right into the path of 33. That's good scouting. That's a good job from Northwestern. So sometimes you got to tip your cap, but just a little bit more patience, right? Trust your running back will pick that up. And you would have had a pretty good option there for Andrew Marsh, probably for a touchdown, if you're able to just stand tall and deliver that on that crossing route. So credit where credit's due. They got him on that one. Okay. And then 3rd and 13 here, ball on the 17. Touchdown, but we got a hold. And this one hurts because you didn't need to hold. You had a hell of a block on the right side here. Good little combo block between Andrew Sprague. You got Giovanni El Hadi, or is that 53 or is that 58? Is that Jake Garnera?
Yeah, it's Garnera.
Yeah, it's Garnera. Yeah, my mistake. El Hadi's on the left side there. Mm-hmm. So Jake Garnera does a really good combo block here on number 4 on the edge. This is where we're looking right here. So Sprague, he does a good job initially. There's just no need here to hang on to him. If he just keeps driving forward, sure, he might be taking more outside here, right? But he's getting driven into the ground, into Wrigley Field right there. So you don't need to hold on to him with that much power between 54 and 53 here. You're driving that guy into the ground. So you don't need to hold on to that with that right arm. It is the right call. It is a hold, just unnecessary. So that's a bummer. That's a bummer because you have a really good block on the outside as well. Devin McCulley carries his guy into number 6, the safety. So that's why this is open. A really big block there. Everything's there for the touchdown and the speed for Jordan Marshall. So that's the frustrating thing of this drive. And again, this is essentially, I mean, it's not a turnover, right? You still have a chance at a field goal, but then you miss the field goal. So that's essentially a 7-point swing right there because of that holding penalty. So that one really hurts. And, these are mistakes. Again, in this game, didn't cost them, but in pretty much any other game this season, that could come back to haunt them. So, unfortunately, that's a missed drive, and you're still 0-0. And now we're moving on to Northwestern on their first drive of the game. All right, 3rd and 4 here for the Wildcats. Peyton Stone. I wanted to call this out. Man, this is, I don't know about you, Darnell, this is the most frustrating thing for me to see. When it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, they do a hard count, clap there, and you got 3 guys jumping off sides. I mean, that's a killer. And every time Northwestern was looking for it, what I mean by that is as soon as someone jumped into the neutral zone, they jumped offside as well, or they, false start, whatever. So that's immediate dead ball foul. In the future, I guarantee Ohio State will try to gain a free play, right? They'll snap it while someone's in the neutral zone instead of jumping, and that's a free play. You can just throw it down to Jeremiah Smith, whatever, look for pass interference as well, right? Instead of it being a dead ball foul that in the approach that Northwestern did. So just eye discipline. And a part of me is like, okay, good. Northwestern exposed this, and Michigan needs to learn from this. So I bet Maryland and Ohio State are kind of kicking, not themselves, but kicking Northwestern, saying, man, why did you exploit that so powerfully? Because we had that in our back pocket of a way to get a free play here and there. So it's one of those things where, you know, it didn't cost you, but man, these mistakes, I think it was 2 first downs in this game that Michigan gave away on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, just like this one. And that just cannot happen. So again, just little things, penalties that you can't take if you want to be competitive late in the year here. Okay, so 1st and 10, Northwestern gets a fresh set of downs after that. Now the run defense was swallowing the running backs of Northwestern. This is really good job from the edge player, Derek Moore here. Watch how he just collapses down. Put your hip on 75. You're going to combo block right here. And Derek Moore, you just have to go down the line here, just constrict that. No space between you and 75 and take on anyone that you see. Now, this is a poor job, I think, from 62 and the tight end here on their pulls. I don't think they do a particularly good job, but Derek Moore at least constricts that space. Where's the running back going to go? If you pause right here, where's he going? Really, the only option is outside, and you have guys to spill. So, are you supposed to keep your outside arm free there if you're Derek Moore? In this instance, I'm not 100% sure because it seems like he really is ducking inside, and you have the initial motion of Jimmy Rolder to the outside here. So it seems like how they're calling this is, hey, blow up everything to the inside here, blow it up, force the running back to bounce, and we'll spill our linebacker over to replace the edge, and that linebacker essentially becomes the edge player at that point. So a little scrape exchange, I think, is the terminology for that. So it's a good job. And then on top of that, you have a good job backside, big number 95, Trey Pierce, screaming through past 72. So he's right behind the goalpost here, but he's just going to work his way down the line to scrimmage. Beat 72 off of that and works his way down to get an assisted tackle as well. So run defense really wasn't a problem here. I think Northwestern was definitely overmatched, and guys were just executing left and right across the defensive line. Rayshon Benny had a hell of a day. Trey Pierce is a dude. Nice to see Jimmy Rolder back. Obviously, you want Cole Sullivan back as well, but even some of the young linebackers got good experience and showed up in a couple big plays later on that we'll cover as well. Okay, 3rd and 7. 34-yard line here. This ends up being a good stop. And when I say good stop, you stop it short of the line to get. So it turns into 4th and 1. But, man, you diagnosed this play correctly. If you're Jayshawn Barham, how did Michigan defend the screen? Overall in the day, pretty well. But instead of sending all 4 of these guys or 5 of these guys that Michigan's threatening across the defensive line, they made a call, right? A rock, paper, scissors win, RPS win, what you call it. Is they said, hey, Jayshawn Barham, drop back and just get your eyes over on the wide receivers. We think they're going to run a screen. That's exactly what he does here. He diagnoses it. And if you pause right here, like, boom, that's a loss or a minimal gain. That should be the play over right there. But he hits them and he doesn't wrap up. Now, I feel like we're in bizarro world because I feel like Jayshawn Barham, when he hits someone, they usually go down. But in this case, it's Brandon Hillman coming down and making a dependable tackle. So it's like the roles are reversed here, where I feel like we always saw number 6, Brandon Hillman, come down and, not wrap up on a tackle like this. In this case, he's being a good safety and coming down and stopping it short of the sticks. So good job diagnosing, getting your eyes in the right place, being in the right spot, good timing from Jayshawn Barham. Just got to finish right here. Just wrap him up. Wrap him up. You're right there. So, anyway, you stop them short, all good, except, man, if it's 4th and 7, they're for sure punting instead of the next play that we're going to get to here. But, yeah, just got to cut down on those mistakes because, again, if that's Ohio State, you're trusting that they're going to get that 1 yard compared to Northwestern. But here's the infamous 4th and 1 now. You set them up short. Northwestern came out of a little really quick huddle here, and you can see Michigan's defense is on it. They're recognizing it, right? So they do recognize, hey, something's happening. Get over here. It's coming this way. and all they needed was 1 yard. So it was really, really close. Really, really close. They made contact behind the line of scrimmage, but it's 1 yard. You got to just fall forward, essentially, and that's what the up back who got the direct snap does. So I mainly show that previous play, that screen pass, because if you make that tackle, this isn't going to be even attempted as first down. You're getting the ball back. So that's a mistake of just a little bit of better execution. It may not seem like a lot because he's still forced a 4th down, but that made this play possible. And that hurts. That hurts. Again, didn't cost him the game. I'll always give that caveat, but you got to look forward. And those little things can cost you moving forward. Okay, so continuing on with this drive, we got a 3rd and long here for Northwestern. They didn't quite jump off sides here on the hard count. Decent coverage here from Zeke Berry. It was called a catch initially. Upon review, it then was overturned to be an incomplete pass. Not bad coverage from Zeke Berry. One thing, I wanted to just keep his feet here. Like, I get getting your body into him here a little bit, but instead of bringing your arms up here into the body, I would prefer he have a hand just on his hip, on his leg here, right? But too often in this game, and I think throughout the season, we see Berry kind of lose his feet. I don't know if it's a strength thing, but his timing is just a little bit off, and that's why he's not able to better go for the ball here. So I think he's just there a little bit early. It is 50-50 contact. That's why it's not called a penalty. But he is right on him. So in terms of being in the right place, it's just once the ball was getting there, playing the ball, he was just there a step or two early there. So these other angles do show the ball does right there. The nose of the ball does hit the ground. So that is incomplete. So that forces a 4th and long for the Wildcats. They will punt. So again, you get the ball back. Not the end of the world here, but and a big but. I don't know if Ohio State's wide receivers are going to be dropping that, right? So you want to see improvement. You don't want, right at this point, you'd like to see your cornerback attacking the ball, not falling down at the wide receiver's waist. So number 17 is a baller. He's pretty good. I think Northwestern's probably best offensive player. Wild, I think, Will Day. I forget how the announcers kept saying it, but he was a guy. He was a guy to cover. So generally, Michigan bottled him up pretty well. This one, he wasn't able to wrangle that one in. But yeah, just want to see a little bit better than Berry. I don't know how he graded out on the day. It seemed like up and down, like he was mostly in the right spot. Just seemed like in more isolated one-on-one deep shots, he's the guy that teams are going to continue to target, just because I think the other options against Jair Hill and other guys that Michigan's had out there at the cornerback position, Berry is probably the least productive in those scenarios.
Let me check. You keep going. I'm going to check for you. I know that they usually put Trevor and them usually put out
the PFF grades.
Yeah. I think it's right here.
It's always a hard thing for the grades for cornerbacks because, like, you can only grade, or I should say it's hard to grade a cornerback if they're not getting thrown at, right? Where it's like, you don't, like, how do you grade someone who offenses are avoiding, right? So it's like there's usually not enough data for some of the better cornerbacks to appropriately grade them, but.
Okay. Yeah, they look like he didn't actually put it out there, but that's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to follow up with that because I am curious. 1st and 10 here for Michigan after the punt. Wanted to include at least one of these because this was an RPO day for Bryce Underwood, and he was dead on early on in the game. I think later on, Northwestern did a better job sneaking into those windows or recognizing the tendencies of these RPOs. But man, was Bryce Underwood dealing on these RPOs. So let me go back to the sideline view here. You're just looking for this path for Andrew Marsh. So the eyes here for Bryce Underwood are mainly through this linebacker if he's dropping back into this path, where he is horizontally for the flight path of the ball here on this slant, you expect him to beat this guy on the inside. So it's really more about, if this guy's going, which he is being set on a blitz, will 37 be able to get over there quick enough? So you're less reading like a single guy and more reading to the area of where the ball is being thrown. Because they're just sending one guy up, that does make the read a little bit easier, where time is the most valuable thing for this RPO. What I mean by that is when they're sending this guy, that means there's more ground for 37 to cover to get into the path of this pass. So you kind of want to pull this from the belly of the running back a little bit quicker to ensure that you can deliver that ball quickly. So I would have liked him to pull that a little bit quicker, like recognize as soon as you see that linebacker running up towards the line of scrimmage, that they're not just going to leave this gap completely open. They're going to have to send someone from elsewhere to cover that. So I would have liked to see him deliver it a little bit quicker, but because he has such arm strength, honestly, he's able to make that work, right? So even though he holds that mesh point a little bit longer than I would have liked, still able to get that ball in there and deliver a first down pass. So, I mean, that's big time. It's a big time throw. Good route here from Andrew Marsh, and the ball's right on the money. So over time, this became more complex in terms of how Bryce Underwood should have been reading this, and he got on a couple of them. But this was time and time again where Michigan went to. And it's clear that they are confident with Bryce Underwood's ability to read this and to make the right read. So I like that they continue to lean into this, because the only way to get better, or the best way to get better, is continued reps. Do it time and time again in a game setting. You just need the experience. Trying to have the appropriate reps in practice to replicate a game scenario, that's hard to do. So the more you do it in a live game scenario against an actual opponent, the better off you're going to be in the future running similar plays. Okay, 2nd and 10 here, Michigan driving on the 43-yard line. Little rollout. And this is something I really want Michigan to be doing more of, where it is like an RPO, but there's kind of another element to this where it's more threatening the flats instead of like a slant. And because of that, you really utilize the legs of Bryce Underwood more. Okay, so what is the concept here for this play? So you're sending Samaj Morgan here on like a crossing route. I think it's Andrew Marsh. You're sending Samaj Morgan up the wheel, and then you're sending Marlon Klein out to the flat. And off the handoff here, the main read is going to be what is the response to Marlon Klein out to the flat. So let's just watch the eyes here for Bryce Underwood. I think it's hard to say what he's reading on whether he's giving or keeping here. I think it's probably designed to go roll out to the right, and then he's reading whether to throw or run. So I think that's always a play action right here. I don't think that's a true mesh point right here. But then the read is, what does 33 do? 33, this linebacker. If he comes flying up here, if he comes attacking Bryce Underwood, these two routes here will leave Marlon Klein open in the flat. And then you hit that, and he can follow up the sideline for a big gain if he's attacking. Because he's headed out to the flat here, that's going to leave a really wide open path, because this little play action, you expect that to take the backside linebacker here. This linebacker is going to be away in the flat, so you're free to the safety, essentially, one-on-one here to get some ground. So I really like that play because and I like how Bryce Underwood dives as well. You're not putting your quarterback really at risk here. Just because you're running your quarterback, you're not putting your quarterback at risk. I think there's always a misconception of you can't run the quarterback, like you're really risking him getting injured. This is pretty safe. If he's making the right read here, it's either completion, right, if 33 is coming to attack him, or you can get 10 yards without being touched. You got 12 yards, 13 yards, and then he dives down. Perfect play. Use that. He has the athleticism to do that. So getting him on the move, a nice different kind of RPO. Really cool play. So I'm glad to see Chip Lindsey kind of mixing it up in the types of RPOs as well. Yeah, I love it. Love to see more of that moving forward. All right, 1st and 10 here. Michigan still driving now in Northwestern territory. Little play action again. This one is really frustrating. You did get 4 yards on the scramble here, but man, just dump it off to the running back. All right. So I agree with his choice. I don't think there was anything deep. I don't think this angle will actually tell us anything. But Northwestern was clearly dropping a bunch of guys back into zone. I think it was quarters, but let me double check here on the actual zone coverage. Yeah, it looks like quarters, or at least no, probably cover 3. You got cover 3, so it looks like, or it might be cover 6 actually, where you have this guy covering half, quarter. When I say quarter, I mean quarter deep, and then you have 4 guys underneath here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So might be cover 3, hard to say. But anyway, look at how much depth everyone is getting here. All of your routes here are relatively deep. You got safeties over the top of everything. If you fast forward a little bit, where you really throwing the ball, nothing really looks that open here. You could argue maybe there's a shot you could take right here. But with this guy dropping back, I don't think that's a safe option. So really, at this point, he's read this, right? Man, there's a lot of bodies back here. But just drop it off to your running back. This isn't 3rd and, I think this is 1st and 10. This isn't 3rd and 15 where you need to force it down the field here. This is 1st and 10. You drop it off to your running back here, he's getting at least 5 yards, probably 8 yards, I would say, if not more than that. So I really just don't like the hero ball a little bit. I'll call him out. I'll say hero ball. Just drop it off to your running back. Let him do some work. But make it easier for yourself there. So instead, he just tries to do a little bit too much, and he only gets 4 yards out of it, and he gets hit, right? So there's still maturation to go there, right? Of like back in high school, he takes off, Brad gets a touchdown or 20 yards on that play. It's a different game now. All right. And the game within the game is keeping yourself healthy, taking one less hit. Let your running back get the hits. That's what he's there for. He's there to go get bruised up, and that's his job. So do your job and let other guys do theirs. So, still got positive yards. So good job from him for finding positive yards, but it could have been much better play there. All right. 3rd and 6 here, ball on the 38. We're into the second quarter now. One-on-one coverage, Andrew Marsh, good luck. All right, anybody, whether you're Northwestern or I think anyone in the league now, this is putting it on film that you cannot take him on one-on-one.
Yeah, that was a dot.
Yeah, it was. Nothing special. It's just press coverage, just beat him off the release and outran him. That's it. So just really good release on the outside. From Andrew Marsh, you can see this just little juke move, and then boom, cuts to the outside, dusts him. Good recognition of single high safety. No shot. Boom. And that is so critical because coming into the year, Donovan McCulley was thought to be that kind of guy. All it took was a couple weeks for Andrew Marsh to get up to speed with the playbook, and now he has established himself as an extremely reliable option there instead. So teams will have to accommodate that. Teams will see this sort of play and be like, we can't get away with a single high safety now. We can't do it. We need 2 high safeties. And that only helps your run game. That only helps, if you need to dedicate more guys to Andrew Marsh, that only opens up your tight ends and gives Donovan McCulley more of an option to get open. So it just opens up a ton of stuff to have a de facto number 1 guy. That's why I always hated playing Michigan State, because you knew in the last couple of years that Nick Marsh, he's just a dude that you always have to account for. It opens up a lot for your offense, and that's what Andrew Marsh does as well. So just a side note, whenever I would go watch the Cubs, I would be sitting like right here. So to be covering a football game and just see like, oh, this is where I used to sit all the time watching the Cubs. That's just weird as hell. But But anyway, nice catch there for Andrew Marsh, setting you up inside the 5, and Michigan will punch that in a couple plays later, make the score 7-0. Back onto defense here. All right, 3rd and 8 here, ball on the 27. And this is just a combination of good coverage, good discipline in the pass rush. Good discipline. This, isn't a sack. It is just a throwaway. Ernest Hausman just completely bulldozes a running back. And then, just forces. It's good pursuit from your defensive line as well. So I like about this is, let's watch Ernest Hausman, number 15, first, just come in and put the fear of God in number 5 here. Number 5 really stood no chance. It's just boom. I love that. And then he continues on. He gets tripped up, but that forces a quarterback out of there. As soon as you see that, you're like, oh, I got to duck out. And I like the big boy, number 95. It's a good job. Just not being, not going too far upfield, recognizing, hey, I have outside contain. So Trey Pierce doing a good job getting back to the outside, making sure nothing goes vertical against him, and just walking the quarterback out of bounds. Beyond that, let's go back, see any sort of coverage or any routes that were potentially open. Just nothing going here. Nothing going. Good physicality from Jayshawn Barham. I like how they're really using Jayshawn Barham a lot more in pass coverage. A lot more this week than we've seen, where they're dropping him back quite a bit. They trust him in coverage. And this is the sort of adjustments throughout the season that I like to see, where, yes, he is an excellent pass rusher, but also he is essentially probably your most athletic linebacker. And he's good in coverage too. You see, he follows this guy all the way. Like, this is a slot receiver. He makes contact with him, and then he follows him all the way across. There's no daylight. So that's an edge player essentially mapping that route, keeping his hand on his hip. That is excellent coverage all the way through. So being able to have an excellent edge rusher who can also do that against a slot receiver, that's a freak. That's crazy. So that's good self-scouting, recognizing, hey, we don't want Cam Brandt here, right? But we can strike we can strike some fear in this guy as a pass rusher, but then also he can cover a slot guy. That's crazy versatility, and you got to find ways that you can take advantage of that, use that to your advantage as a defensive play caller. So it's nice to see Wink Martindale adjust to that, and not always tip your say you're always bringing this guy because he's your best pass rusher. You don't have to do that. You shouldn't do that all the time. Throw him off a little bit. So nice to see.
He must have been watching the show. He must be a friend of the program, watch the show. We've only been asking for this for the past couple of weeks, so it's good that he took what we've been asking into consideration.
If Wink Martindale is in here watching me and getting tips from me, get me on the payroll, man. Come on. What are we doing here? What's his salary? Let's get a chunk of that. Come on. All right, 1st and 10 here. Michigan gets the ball back. Ball on their own 23-yard line. Little play action. And again, this similar sort of look where they're sending someone looping off the edge, getting Bryce Underwood to step up, and that's a quick sack. Nothing you can really expect Bryce Underwood to do here, especially in a play action. So his back is to the play. Just not a great job from a couple guys. But it's also really tough to expect the personnel here for Michigan, or at least this look. So I mean by personnel, you're asking a tight end, Zach Marshall, to block this defensive end one-on-one. He doesn't have any help. So that's tough. That's tough to expect your tight end to do that well. The second aspect is because of how the pass rush developed here, where they're sending this linebacker here. This guy's taking the outside step here to occupy your left tackle here, Blake Frazier. Blake Frazier's head is in the wrong spot here. On top of that, because you're sending this guy around the edge, and where you have both Marshall and this puller coming across here, El Hadi, because they're blocking here, that's actually going to that's going to impede the path of Blake Frazier carrying on this block into the backfield. So you can see right here, I think Blake Frazier's right hip right now is kind of being impeded. Like he's not able to follow this block, or there might have been some contact here from Giovanni El-Hadi that allows for this lane without Blake Frazier to work his way across this way because of that right hip being hit from his teammate there. So I think that's what happens. It's hard to say 100%, but that sort of combination of Zach Marshall losing against a defensive end, which is a hard ask, but he does get beat pretty badly. And then I'm sorry, that's Jake Garnera on the pull, not El-Hadi. So I kind of want to more give this like credit to Northwestern for calling a good blitz, a good stunt, like a good play overall. But also you're asking, if you're Michigan, I don't know why they thought this would be a good a winning play design to have Zach Marshall in pass protection 1-on-1 against a defensive end. So I kind of just question that of like, is that really what we want Zach Marshall to be doing? Doesn't seem like that's a good call. So I mostly chalk this up to just the right play call for the defense for the play call of the offense. But yeah, poor execution as well. And it's a quick sack. Michigan has to punt.
Wouldn't it be? Can you go back to that view real quick? And I promise I won't spend a lot of time on it. Wouldn't it be better for Goddard, who's coming in, who's pulling 77, kicks out the tackle, and then Goddard catches that D tackle on the track?
Yeah, it's one of those things where when I try to evaluate, who's doing things wrong, you watch the footwork is all built to close this gap left from Jake Garnera. So you see the first step of everyone on the left side of the puller, one step to the right, and everyone here one step to the left. So I'll just go forward and backwards there and look at that a little bit, where you can see that those first steps of everyone is kind of just closing that gap. So it's less about like I don't think they're taught here of like who to pick up. You're essentially going to an area, and whoever ends up in your area, that's who you are responsible for. So I do think it might be a little bit more the case of I would just want the head of Blake Frazier on the inside. So you have to recognize, hey, there's a puller coming here. If there's a guy screaming off the edge here, I'm going to have a hard time fighting through that. I need to work a little bit more to make sure I'm inside to kind of form a wall here. So because his head is on the left side there, that's going to open up a gap a little bit. Now, you could also make the case here, Giovanni El-Hadi shouldn't really be pushing that hard here. You don't need to really be doubling. He should maybe extend an arm, but he should more stay at home. He kind of lunges forward. So that kind of helps form this gap as well for this defensive tackle. So I think I'd like to see Blake Frazier more on the inside here, because you're going to have two bodies on the outside, like coming across here to handle anything coming across here. So the priority is more towards your inside. So I think that's it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but so there's a little bit of blame to go to, I think, to multiple parties on that. Okay, ball back in Northwestern's hands. Here we go again, right? Here we go again. 3rd and 3, and you jump off sides. Now it's Eno Etta, right? It's not a true starter, and it's close, right? Like I think he's barely over in the neutral zone. So it's tough. It's not an egregious jump where everyone is. So at least they're improving, not everyone. But because Michigan likes to send pressure, it looks like you're sending a bunch of guys here. They're antsy. So it's just something, again, against better teams, closer games, can't do it. I mean, it almost, you could argue it cost Michigan some points in this game. But yeah, just need to go through the drills, right? Get the ball on the stick and just do a bunch of hard counts. Do that for 30 minutes, right? If you're not able to do it, you're going and doing 20 push-ups, right? Get these 300-pounder guys doing 20 push-ups. I bet they won't jump off sides next time, right?
Yeah.
So one of those things where it's a killer. It's a killer. You're giving up free yards, and now you gave new life on third down to Northwestern. So 2nd and 1 now, ball in 22. They're driving for Northwestern here. A little rollout pass. And really, you had 2 options here for Northwestern. I really need to analyze who should have been in a better position here. But if we look at the sideline view, you had Zeke Berry. It looks like they're not sure of where to go. They're still talking. Zeke Berry's looking away from the play at the time of the snap. So it looks like they're not really sure, trying to get the play call. And they could have gone to the wheel route to number 17 here, and it would have been touchdown. So some form of miscommunication, wheel route down the sideline here. Some form of miscommunication leaves him wide open. Now, again, you could argue maybe this safety, because you kind of got a cover 3 look. Maybe this guy could have fallen off towards this. So maybe it's not as open as I'm claiming it to be. But if he throws it, back shoulder here, something like that, there's a lot of open space as well. So I do think it's probably mostly on Jair Hill to not pick up this guy coming across. Because you have to recognize, hey, at a certain point, I'm just covering grass. When 84 is coming here, you can see, I think he points. He points here that, hey, 84 is coming across. So you could also argue, I think this is young guy, number 18, Troy Bowles.
Yeah, Troy Bowles.
He probably has to be dropping back as well. He probably has to get more. But so it's hard to say. I'm not exactly sure, because when you see 3 guys like this, when I say 3 guys, when you have Brandon Hillman flying up like this, seems like he's supposed to be covering the wheel route maybe, but you're essentially going to have 3 guys all kind of covering this flat. And that doesn't seem like it's appropriate. So the pointing of Jair Hill, I think he's probably calling out to someone here. I think it's Mason Curtis, probably calling out, hey, 84 is coming. He's coming across here. So I'm willing to bet that it's more than likely, and I know I've switched a couple times, but I'm just trying to analyze what coverage they're in here. But I can't imagine that it's both this linebacker and this safety's job to come up into the flat here. So it's one of these 2 guys' issue here of not getting up or not gaining enough depth over this sort of crossing route. That's my read on it. And I'll err on the side of probably the safety being there instead of the linebacker, but hard to say. And yeah, that's a big play. Good catch. Give him a lot of credit.
Just seemed like every time we was in the area to get that pivotal stop to force them to go 3 and out, that middle of the field is open, and it's been open, it feels like, every week against us on defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be something where if you continue to put on the field, or put on the film, teams will take advantage of that, right? They'll be looking at that. And one other aspect of this, I think this is 33. That's Dominic Nichols out here. I think that's who 33 is right here. So he's an edge player. So in terms of like mistakes or like someone not doing their job, right? I thought that was a safety for a second. That's an edge player. So it's between him and a young linebacker making a mistake there. So I think it's just miscommunication from one of those 2 guys, more likely the edge than not, of not dropping back into the middle there. But sometimes that's going to happen when you're rotating a bunch of guys, a lot of young guys especially. That's the risk that you put busting coverages like that. All right, 2nd and 8 on the 8-yard line here. Michigan sending a bunch of dudes, and you got to pick route. All right, this was called correctly as offensive pass interference, so this would not stand as a touchdown. And Northwestern was doing this left, right, and center. This was in their playbook. We don't need to go to the other angle. This angle shows it. perfectly. 84 is just straight up blocking. All right. As soon as you make this, makes the job easy for refs. As soon as you go out here and just put your arms out on the cornerback, this guy's just stuttering and just doing a slant route. As soon as you see that, boom, that's pass interference. It's not a pick. That's just straight up pass interference. So good job on the ref for recognizing that and for appropriately throwing that flag. And there are multiple plays like this throughout the game where, there's a way to do this crafty. There's another way of just you're banking on the refs not throwing the flag. And I lost a little bit of respect for the offensive coordinator for this being in his bag, right? I get it. You're outmatched, but you're trying to break the rules of the game or take advantage of refs, not catching it here and there. So that's kind of a snaky play from my perspective. Okay, 3rd and 4 after the field goal for Northwestern after that 3rd down stop. So 3rd and 4 here for Michigan. And, I mean, sometimes it's worth being lucky instead of being good. So Bryce Underwood holds on to the ball a little bit too long. It gets knocked out of his hand there. And hell of a catch there. Hell of a job from, I think that's Dominic Tonelli came down with that one.
It was.
But you can see the reason I included this one primarily, you can see where this was designed to go. And it's a really good play call. Really interesting little route combo. So it's funny, I just mentioned like little pick routes here. That's what you're essentially getting out of Samaj Morgan. He's just running a little sit route right here. So he's just going to target right here. You're taking your outside wide receiver. I think that's Kendrick Bell, and he's going on a post. His whole job is to occupy this safety, get him to clear out. And then you're running sort of an out and up wheel route. But it's a really good route from Marsh. So let's go back forward a little bit here just to look at this route. So there's your out, and he's cutting it up. The thing I really like about this is he recognizes, hey, if the safety bites, okay, if the safety is biting hard on this sort of out route, which he is, then, and he's recognizing that, he's reading off of that, then cut to the inside of him. Cut to the inside, boom, and hit that vertically so that he can't respond to that.
Yep.
So he is wide open. Look at the momentum, right? You're at full speed for Andrew Marsh right there at the 48, while number 18 is just starting to get going, turning his hips and running with him. That's going to be a touchdown. It's going to be a touchdown if you can deliver the ball there. So that's where it's designed to go all the way. That pick route does just enough for Samaj Morgan just to slow down this guy, right? Just don't let him make contact. That's essentially what this is doing. Just turn back towards the ball. Don't let this guy impede this route. And to everyone looking at this, right, to these guys, this sort of pick route makes it look like this is the design. Because, again, down in distance, 3rd and 7, it looks like he's running right at the sticks. So this is a great play call because that's going to influence these guys running down at this hard because, yeah, it looks like you're just saying to pick. You're going for the sticks. Yeah, you're going to react hard to that. So it's a really clever play call, and I just like the route that Marsh runs to cut inside of that, and it would have been perfect. So that is what Bryce Underwood, I like that he was staying in there, trying to buy just a little bit more time. And it was just like half a second before he could get there. Now, I think he did need to step up. We'll go to the end zone view to see what the pocket was looking like. It was just constricting a little bit. So maybe he could have, stepped forward and to his left a little bit. It's tough because he's trying to throw this way. So I get his inclination to step up this way. It's not a bad pocket. Like this is you're asking for a lot of time. So it's not terrible. The offensive line just wasn't able to hold on long enough. So I can't really, discredit the offensive line for the job they did. You'd like to see Jake Garnero and Crippen maintain their blocks a little bit longer. These are the two guys that eventually will come free. But again, this is quite a bit of time you're asking for this route to develop. So still results in a first play by the grace of God, I suppose. But really clever play design. I really like it. Maybe there's a way where you can keep a running back, in a better position for for pass protection. So instead of sending out Jordan Marshall, you keep him in here and have him, further pass protect to ensure a clean pocket because of how long the play is going to develop. But anyway, got lucky. Could have been a huge play if he had just an extra half second, but that's how things go sometimes.
Yep.
All right, moving on. 1st and 10 here. Michigan just passed the midfield. A little handoff here. And this is just a little bit of everything for Jordan Marshall. It's what makes him special as a running back, this sort of play. Little motion and really, really great block there from Giovanni El Hadi. Great block there from Blake Frazier. He does a great job clearing out here. So you're just mowing guys on the inside. They were getting a ton of movement. Really good block from 77. And then watch 58, Giovanni El Hadi come flying through here. Boom, lays a lick on number 6. And just a good job cutting off the butt of that. Making a guy miss there for number 9 with his little jump cut to the left. And just continuing on. And just always falling forward. The guy does not fall backwards. I feel like I haven't seen it yet this season. So, yeah, man, this is just great blocking, good movement. Like to see Blake Frazier, 77, take the guy on the ride there. Hell of a block from your puller, Giovanni El Hadi, both in recognition of who to block and just laying his ass out.
Yes.
And then you have Jordan Marshall just making a guy miss and picking up extra yards after contact. That's a little bit of everything that you want out of your run game right there.
I had this play marked down in my notes when I watched it live. I was like, oh, El Hadi went to work.
Yeah. Ass on grass is what.
Okay.
Instead of hands on knees, ass
hands
on grass.
Knee, ass on grass. I love to see it.
All right, 1st and 10 here. And boom, blows up. Now, this one's tough because, the immediate response is you're moving the ball. Why do you have to do these little gadget plays? Why do you have to do these little fun things? Like just run the ball, right? The last play we just watched was an excellent base run. You're moving them. You're moving on the field. Why do things like this? And I get that. But then I think back of man, how fun is it watching the Lions over the last couple of years where they'll throw in gadget plays here and there and really creative stuff. So it's kind of a situation where if the play works out, then you're a genius. If it doesn't work out, then you're an idiot. And I think that's where this falls into, where the play call for Northwestern just works out perfectly, where the defensive end, he is just hell-bent on getting back here. And as soon as he sees the back for Bryce Underwood, it seems like he just knew that Andrew Marsh is going to be there and he is just there for the contact. So, give credit to him because he just knew exactly where that was going. Now, I do think you need to teach this guy in motion, at least chip the guy. If you see a guy flying up field like this defensive end, you need to take a second here and at least chip him. All right. You need to at least chip him if you're that 42.
Was my argument. That's what I was yelling at the beginning in the chat because Michigan fans freaked out. Like you said, the first thing they yelled or they typed in the chat was why chip why? And I'm like, listen, these gadget plays, we always say we want an exciting offense.
Yep.
These gadget plays is what turned those exciting offense. What I was more disappointed in is I got 42 and 44, which is Bredesen, running past the guy and not even trying to touch him.
Yeah.
You're putting your players, you're putting your fellow brother and teammate at risk. Even if that's not a part of the play, you still take him out and it's a broken play.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if this is a pitch to Marsh for him to throw it back to Bryce. We don't know what this play is.
Right.
Because it was blown up because we had people missing blocks.
Yeah. It's one of those things where the thought process has to be for these two guys flying across here, is he's going to be moving, reacting to 23. He's going to tackle the running back, and that's fine, right? He's going to be hell-bent on tackling the running back. That's his path. So that's what it seems like. And you do have 42 here, and is that Hoffman? What he's the other running back
Yeah.
or the other fullback? Jalen Hoffman, is that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think it has to be, because it does look like he's tries to put his shoulder on him, but you got to do more than that. But obviously they didn't clock it as a big enough threat to like fully block him. So it seems like they are thinking, okay, he's reacting to the run and he's going to take himself out of the play, and Andrew Marsh will clear him, right? He'll take himself out, so we don't need to block him. That calculation was wrong. And these guys, I trust Michigan's fullbacks. They don't make that mistake often. So I'll chalk this one up as like, man, you really don't expect those guys to make that mistake again. But it sucks. It sucks, man. Like it's not a mistake you can make. As you mentioned, you're leaving your teammate out to dry there. So that's a brutal miss, and cost Michigan the ball on a drive where they could have gone up 14-3. Instead, you're turning the ball back over to the Wildcats.
Yep,
that's tough. All right, moving forward here, 2nd and 7 here, past midfield for Northwestern. This was going to be a little trickeration of Northwestern's own. You see after the handoff, there's a couple routes going deep. Really good discipline covering this all the way across. Nowhere for nowhere for the ball to go. So the wide receiver here does make the right decision, but then he gets planted. All right. Yeah, I know it's fall, but I think Michigan's defense thought it was spring because they are planting out here. Okay. TJ Metcalf just absolutely waxed this guy. Yeah, I don't know why he jumped right there, but holy cow. That was.
Yeah. But it reminded me of the old Goldberg. Remember Goldberg from the WCW or WWE? Reminded me of him with this spear.
Brutal. Just brutal, man. That is a yeah. And the thing I love most about this hit is A, how legal it is, and B, how it's so like he just wraps up, right? So it's not like the Brandon Hillman, I love Brandon Hillman's physicality, but it's so technically sound. It's boom, I wrap you up and then I punish you. Like it's the perfect hit. Like I couldn't draw up a hit better than that. So I give a lot of credit both to the coverage team, right, of Mason Curtis. He is on this all the way, going deep. Cornerbacks going deep. You have Jair Hill doing a good job covering this crossing route, and then just good pursuit from everyone else, and going up and making this big hit. So that's awesome when you have a big gadget play like that, and obviously you didn't get a turnover like Northwestern did against Michigan when Michigan tried theirs, but at least send a message with that hit from TJ Metcalf. All right, 3rd and 7 here, the 44-yard line for Northwestern, and man, that's just a brutal play down the seam. And Jane Mangum, I think this is who's responsible for this play. You just get waxed on that route. You just got absolutely handled.
Yep.
So you can't be having a tight end do this to you if you're a safety. Okay, it's a good route. I'll give him credit, but it's a tight end. All right. So watch number 3 here. He just bites too much on that inside move, and he's not able to recover. And he tries to dive for it. And he's not able to get there. So that's just a one-on-one coverage that Northwestern thought, hey, we have an advantage here. It's a good route, but I think poorer play from Mangum than anything else. So that's tough, man, especially when you have younger guys. Like we'll see some plays from Jordan Young. That spot, you're going to start seeing other guys rotate in if you're not able to cover that. So that might sound harsh, but that's reality. You got to be able to cover that tight end up the seam if you want to be dependable. Okay, moving on. 1st and 4 now for Northwestern. Hell of a play here on the goal line. This was going to be a touchdown. Really nice play design, little play action fake here. You're sending out 84. He's kind of this like fullback looking type. It looks like he's going to be blocking, but then he continues his route out towards the pylon here. So it looks like he's blocking, goes towards the pylon, but it just gets tipped right before it gets there. This is Jayshawn Barham showing off that athleticism. His ability to tip that ball makes it fall just short, and boom, not able to get there. So that's huge, man. That saves a touchdown right there. So I've been critical on him a lot this season of not playing the edge position, all that well, keeping the edge, like different things. But man, he, especially in this game, his ability in coverage, his ability to recognize, hey, timing up the pass here, that is excellent stuff. And that saves Michigan a touchdown. Now, who should have gotten out there? It's probably 27. It's probably
27, I thought.
Jaden Sanders.
Yeah.
I think he has to, but it's a really tough play. It's a really tough play because you're trying to cover this guy going on the inside. It looks like he might be doing like a crossing route, right? So you have to recognize, hey, he's actually just blocking. He's setting a pick here, right? That's all he's doing, setting a pick. And you have to replace that. What I mean by that is you have to recognize, hey, this is a pick. I need to be back outside because whoever he's trying to pick here, right, Brandon Hillman, who has responsibility for this guy out of the backfield, he's not going to be able to get there because of the body here, and I need to replace that responsibility, essentially a switch, like in basketball terms. But no one does, right? There is no switch there. It's way too late. So the play works, but Jayshawn Barham just makes a play on the ball. Huge. Saves the touchdown.
Young man is making them some money. I mean, this is the type of next level stuff you want to see if you want to get drafted in the top, them top 90 picks. I think Barham is definitely a day two guy. He could play himself into day one if he has a big game against Ohio State.
I agree. He's got all the athleticism in the world to make that happen. And then the next play here, he saves this or he makes this play happen again.
Yep.
So when you give him the ability to be aggressive, what I mean by that is his gap is this play side B gap. All right, you got the A gap here. This is the B gap. His responsibility is just shoot this gap right here. Shoot that gap. So he doesn't have outside responsibility. You're leaving more outside responsibility to these guys. So when you can tell him, hey, just shoot this B gap, that's your responsibility. It doesn't make sense how he's able to get movement on this tackle. It seems like he's too small to do that. He's got a little Josiah Stewart in him of just being able to play bigger than his body. But man, does he put that left shoulder into the body of the tackle, work down the line of scrimmage. Give a lot of credit to Brandon Hillman as well, because Brandon Hillman throws himself into the C gap as well. He's able to throw himself there and I think probably give a little bit more momentum there to Jayshawn Barham. And that just constricts everything. And then give credit to Mason Curtis putting his hat in the right hole as well. So it's kind of a combined effort of everyone, keeping their legs and width about them, not giving up a whole lot of ground. Rayshawn Benny here isn't giving up any ground. And then just filling gaps. Right, so it's kind of a team effort of don't leave any open holes, but Jayshawn Barham is the first one to make contact, bring him down behind the line of scrimmage. So Northwestern will have to sell for a field goal there. So that's huge. 2 plays there from Jayshawn Barham. All right, 7-6. You got a minute left in the second quarter. This was just the Andrew Marsh drive, so I won't really focus on a lot of these plays. These are just one-on-one coverage for that Northwestern had. I could have clipped like 4 of these. I think 3 or 4 of these. Just Andrew Marsh just catching them down the sideline, just time and time again. 3rd and 7 on the 44-yard line after another Andrew Marsh catch here. This one, I included this one because it's a combination of good situational awareness, but also I think you missed a shot. Okay. What do I mean by situational awareness? You only have 35 seconds. You do have a timeout, but it's 3rd and 7. All right. Ball's on the 44-yard line. You have a kicker who's been up and down this year for sure. Had some struggles. But he's got a boot on him. He's got a boot. But if you don't get any yards here, you're looking at what? 65-yarder, 64-yarder, 65-yarder. That's probably outside of his range. So getting some yards is beneficial here. So that's what I mean by situational awareness, getting a couple yards. I think he only ended up getting 1 or 2. So I understand the desire to just scramble and get some yards, right? So I'll give him some credit for that. But I think he missed a shot down the seam here. So what is the coverage? It looks like you have cover 2. Because you have cover 2 and you're threatening vertical on the bottom of your screen here for Dalvin McCulley, that's going to occupy this safety. And if you read the body language of this safety, he is getting back to his half of the field as well. Zach Marshall is going to be streaking up here with only these 2 linebackers trying to hustle back. That should be if you're reading that as Bryce Underwood, you should see this as plus body language. See this guy ducking out this way, this guy ducking out this way, these guys scrambling to get depth, and you got Zach Marshall. At worst, your ball might hit the back of the helmet of one of these guys if they get back in time, which is doubtful. So if you watch that, where Zach Marshall is going, if you're throwing this ball right now, if you plant your feet and throw this ball down the middle, kind of up this hash, like right behind, essentially throw at the ear hole of 37 here, you're going to be able to get there. I think you're going to be able to complete that ball. These safeties won't be able to make a play on that quick enough. I think you have a shot. So is it worth it on 3rd and 7, right? Should you be going down the seam there when you're trying to get in field goal range? Again, not 100% sure on what the right answer there is. But I think you had the coverage, and I think you had a chance there to go down the seam to Zach Marshall. So I think it's a miss. Yeah.
Pause it right there. So even if, let's say he doesn't feel comfortable throwing the seam because his confidence is shot, even if that's your answer, at the 30-yard line, that ball, you should be setting your feet, and he should be letting that ball rip to McCulley in the as John Gruden calls it, the turkey hole. I mean, McCulley's open. You have a window in between. I can't have my cruisers, but the guy that's at the hash and the guy right in front of the 30, you have a window right there in between them. He should be stepping up, looking down the field, and hitting right in between those guys. McCulley is right there. McCulley, as soon as he turned his head, bam. And now you've put your team in a spot where you can take a shot to the end zone because you're taking that time out there, right? Then you take this, you tell Bryce, hey, we're going to run one play to the end zone. You can't take a sack. If it look like you're about to take a sack, scramble, throw it out of bounds.
Yep. I think you're right that this is a way scarier pass. There is a whole shot here. There is. I'm with you. You could do it. If you are worried about turning the ball over here, this is a lot less risk of. So I'll give this a chance if he can throw an accurate ball there. If he can throw an accurate ball, I'd give that 80% being complete, maybe 20% pick. Or let's say 70% complete, 20% pick, 10% incomplete. I would say if you throw it here, you're probably looking maybe at 60% complete, 40% incomplete. I don't think there's any percentage of this being intercepted at all. The positive side is if it's caught, you get a touchdown. Compared to this, you're in an easier field goal range plus an additional shot at the end zone, like you mentioned. So I'm with you. I think he probably saw this, and to your point, maybe a little bit squirrely about throwing a pick, things like that, just trying to get in field goal range. I don't think his eyes were over here. Yeah. So I think a couple missed opportunities, and this was the resulting field goal. I mean, you can't get closer to the upright. I mean, I'll pause it here. You can see the shadow. Like you can see the shadow of, you can't. Actually, you can, even with our eyes over it. You can only see the shadow of the ball on the upright. So brutal. I feel for I feel for him, man. It's tough for Zavada to come back and just miss a couple like this, because that's as close as you can get without hitting the damn upright. So brutal. But that's your score going into half, 7-6. Felt like you should have been doing more, but that's where we're at to start the second half here. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to cough. All right, we're back. This one, Zeke Berry just got beat. All right, number 17 is the guy. He's a good wide receiver for Northwestern. Wildcats have a good one with him. But Zeke Berry just gets dusted on this route. So only sending 4. I think you're keeping in 6 on pass protection. We'll go back to the other view. Not a whole lot to break down on this route. So bottom of your screen, Zeke Berry. He just gets turned around and then not able to react to that. So I think you just got to stay in your I think you're just turning your hips the wrong way here. So if you think he's continuing to go upfield here, right, then I don't know why you are I just think the technique's wrong, essentially, of like when you're opening your hips like this to run, if you're worried about him getting vertical, that's okay. As soon as you see him stop, open your hips the other way. Open your hips, turn left. So instead of turning your back and then going this way, have the fluidity to turn your left hip back forward instead of turning all the way around to run. So because of that, he loses contact, right? Because now he can't see where it's going. And then he realizes right now, oh crap, he stopped. And that's because he turned to run, didn't keep his hips about him. And now he has to turn all the way around, and that's a lot more wasted time. So good route from 17. Dude's a player, but yeah, that's tough. Another thing, this guy, I don't know how you don't get flagged for chucking a guy's helmet off, but watch Brandon Hillman just get his helmet chucked off right there. I don't know how you don't get flagged for that, but okay.
Nothing surprising me, Toski. I watched the ref on the Samaj Morgan fumble.
We'll get to that.
Saw it.
We'll get to that.
Nothing surprised me with this crew.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, 3rd and 14 here. Ball on their own 40. Another screen pass. Great play from Young Gun, Troy Bowles. Really good job. This is nothing more than just keeping your eyes in the right spot and just beating the play call. So watch number 18 here. The center is going to be releasing, number 65. Center is releasing out to the second level. Here's Troy Bowles. He's watching with his eyes. Where's the quarterback looking? Where's he looking? He recognizes, hey, here's this tight end who's, coming inside sort of on this little tunnel screen look. Recognizes that, makes 65 miss, and then boom, secure tackle, right? Not going for a huge hit. Just I'm going to wrap him up on the legs, and I got help from Mason Curtis. Heads up play, and that's a young guy. I've been harsh on him. I think earlier in the year, he was really struggling. I don't think he knew where to be. I don't think he was trusting his eyes, and now he's making plays. So that's really good to see, especially with the injuries. I thought linebacker position was the position that I was most worried about, with a couple guys, Cole Sullivan, Jimmy Rolder, a couple guys out. That's really scary. And to have him step up and to not just be in the right place, but to make plays, make a lineman miss like that, and then make a dependable tackle, that's huge, both for his development and for Michigan's prospect at the position moving forward, injuries or no injuries. So gaining another dependable linebacker, I still think he has a ways to go, but he's growing. And that's what you want to see from a really young linebacker. Is there growth there over the season? And that shows a lot of good things. All right, 1st and 10, ball on the 26 here for Michigan after that stop. Huge run play. Got caught, a good angle from number 18 there. But you get within the 10-yard line. I think you get caught here if you're Northwestern. What I mean by that is you get caught by when you're slanting or doing stunts, different things like that. You're going to run into a play call that is less advantageous for you at some point. And that's what happens here. So you got all these guys slanting on the defensive line. You're sending number 6 off the edge. He takes himself out of the play right away. So let's just watch the defense there for a minute. He's out of the play. Really good block there from wide receiver there, Andrew Marsh as well. That's how you get time. All right, it's one thing to get 12 catches for 187 yards, but he started seeing so much time on the field because he's screaming across and not afraid to take on this safety blitzing off the edge.
Yep,
that takes guts. That's how you get time right there. You don't need to absolutely destroy the guy, but put a body on him, right? And that's all you need to do. Lay a lick on him, and look, now he's out of position. So that sets up the play. Both the slant for Northwestern helping this blocking scheme, but then also that block from Andrew Marsh. Now let's look at the offensive line. Get a little double team here, boom, boom, and then you have Blake Frazier with probably the block of the play as well. For number 4 coming to the inside, he's just going to wash him all the way down, and then you can already see the eyes here for Giovanni El Hadi. He's targeting 37, the backside linebacker. So he's going to double here. Again, the slant here for number 95 makes it easier for El Hadi to get off to that backside backer. He picks that up. And then you have a puller. So this is Andrew, or that's not Andrew Sprague. Sorry, that's Max Bredesen coming around here. He's going to pick up another key block on 33 right here, play side linebacker. So everything is there. Slant's there to help you out, but then Jordan Marshall, good patience, boom, right off that block that you see Bredesen, boom, you're gone. So yeah, the only thing that saves this play is the speed and the good angle from number 18. He judges that well and tracks it down. But yeah, if you're going to play games like that where you're blitzing all the time off the edge, you're doing slants, you're going to have an offensive play call once in a while that's going to really, really hit home, and that's what this one wasn't a home run, but it was a triple. A little baseball reference for you guys. All right. All right, here we go. 1st and 9 on the 9-yard line. Little motion there. Max Bredesen got your hand stuck in the cookie jar if you're this defensive player here. He is – what's that?
Said took the cheese.
He sure did. He comes flying down. So good mesh point here. You see the eyes. Bryce Underwood. He thinks this is being handed off all the way. And boom, keeps it. No one to the outside there. Tricks the cameraman as well. So yeah, that's easy, man. That's the kind of stuff you just got to keep them honest, right? Keep them honest, because next time that you run this play in future games, all you need to do is create hesitancy in this guy. Create hesitancy in him. Make him think. Make him question, hey, is he going to keep it out there or not? That opens up everything on the inside if he stays home. Good reads. And get a little bit more comfortable score here coming out of the half with this touchdown.
I had the Fox cameraman confused because I was watching the broadcast and I was like, "Why? What is going on?" They said touchdown, and I'm like, "Oh, Bryce kept the ball." And I think we've been asking for Bryce to keep those for all season. Part of me is greedy and wish that we could have held that till Ohio State, but now it's on film, and so now they have to prepare for it.
Exactly. Yep. All about creating hesitancy there, and that's what that will do. All right, you got Northwestern here, 3rd down. Couple things on this. It is a good play. Should have been a pick there from Zeke Berry. The other aspect of this, lane integrity. All right, lane integrity, both keeping an edge and keeping the quarterback in the pocket. So because of the pass rush here for Michigan, you're only bringing 4. All right, you're only bringing these 4 guys, and you're kind of overloading this backside. So you're overloading this. So you really only ever have oops, I think we lost Darnell here. All right,
my camera just acted up, but we good.
Oh, you're all good. And then on the backside here, you have Derek. I think that's Cam Brandt actually on the backside. Or is that Derek Moore?
Yep.
That's Cam Brandt.
Cam Brandt.
So he's got a tough job because essentially the whole left side is open for the quarterback. Whole left side is open. So I get wanting to, continue on this path, but there is just such a wide open lane here that I would prefer, I'd prefer him almost to just stop your pass rush and you become just like a contain man, right? Where you force him to go one way or the other. So I get it. You want to flush him, but because of where the blitz was called, where the other pressure is going, there's just a huge amount of field to cover there if you're Cam Brandt. So I can't be too tough on him, but I do think in this case, you have to realize like, hey, me getting upfield and continuing upfield at this moment, that doesn't really help me. I should like try to double back and be just more conservative, just try to hold him in place for my other guys. So that's one thing. The other aspect, it's good coverage of everyone else. You're kind of in a drill now of, just man up. Like, okay, it's the scramble drill. Find a guy. I don't want to cover grass, right? Find these guys. And Zeke Berry does a good job continuing backside. So Zeke Berry's following. This wide receiver decides to stop, right? He decides to stop right here. Zeke Berry recognizes that. So he's kind of baiting it, right? He's not going over too fast. But then once he sees the throw, he capitalizes on that. Got to pick that off, all right? Hit your hands. Got to pick that off. So it's a good play, right? Good play. You're in the right position. You baited it appropriately. Just not able to squeeze that one. So
you ever heard the saying that things have a domino effect?
Yeah.
And so go to the next play and tell me what happened next,
All
Toski.
right, we're in the middle of the punt. All right, so force the punt here. Good couple of jukes here from Samaj Morgan. That dude is crafty. I'll give him that. But then boom, ball gets stripped. It's a pile. All right, good luck telling me where the ball is. Oh, Northwestern has it. Somehow. I don't understand, man. You pause right here. You tell anyone, hey, gun to your head. How does she know that? Tell me who has the ball. What's he looking at? She's looking at 85. She's looking at Forbes here. What are you looking at? It doesn't make any sense. And I like 39 here. His hands out. He's just like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean?
I'm confused. I'm sitting there the whole time watching the Toski, and I'm like, how was she able to tell? Even Sharon's now on the field. How was she able to call that?
Yeah. And I still don't know right now. Like, what are you looking at?
And because she called it Northwestern's football on the field, you need undisputable evidence to overturn it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and when they went to the replay, there was simultaneous. So if they would have called it Michigan, it would have stayed Michigan. Because that's a simultaneous. Both of them have possession of the ball.
Right.
Technically, it's supposed to go to the offense. So if they would have called it Michigan on the field, Michigan would have kept the ball. Yep. If they call it Northwestern, Northwestern gets to keep the ball. And she can't even see it. She's not even there to see it.
Yeah. You got X-ray vision at this point. Like right now, there are 2 or 3 bodies. I don't know what you're looking at here. You're looking through a body here. I don't know what you think you see here. So yeah, man, it's baffling. And this is why there's 2 things about this for me. Number one, this is why you need ref accountability. Put them in a post-game presser. People are going to watch that shit, man. Are you kidding me? You need to be able to ask these refs. I would pay so much money to ask her, what did you just see? Walk me through that play, because it doesn't make any sense. The other thing about this, there needs to be a call of, I don't know. Okay. I don't like putting the ref in a position of calling this one way or the other, because who the hell knows what's going on underneath that pile? There's no way of knowing. So because, to your point, because you make a call one way or the other, it's going to influence. You need indisputable video evidence to go one way or the next. Sometimes you just don't know what's going on, and that should be okay. You shouldn't have to make a call. So you should be able to just say, I don't know. We're just going to go to replay, and we're going to have a blank slate. We're not going to go off of a call one way or the other. So there needs to be some sort of call that's essentially like just a shrug emoji, and just like, we're going to replay. And we're not trying to overturn one thing or the other. We're just trying to figure out what happened. And that's what should have happened on this play. They shouldn't be forced to make a decision one way or the other. It should be, I didn't see it. I didn't see who recovered. Let's go to replay. And then in that case, when you get to this replay, what does it look like? Exactly what you said. It's kind of simultaneous. Hard to say for sure. Simultaneous, it'll go to the offense. All right. And that's best we got. So it's like, I don't know why that isn't. That's a rule change I want. Or that's like a rule that I want to be in place.
But now that I've got my rant out, I will say two things. One, just like you just said, you got to have that pick. If you pick the ball, we never have to get to a punt return, right?
Yes.
Because we're taking it out of the refs' hands. I remember growing up playing Little League. One thing my coach used to tell us in Little League was, forget the refs. Take it out the refs' hands. If you execute, the refs can't take it from you. You have to execute. Second thing, kudos to Sharon Moore. And I know we've been on JB, special teams coach. But obviously they realize now, hey, putting Samaj back there at punt return is hurting us more than it's helping us. Yes, he can make some guys miss when he get in the open field. Cool, but we don't get that on a regular basis. So Andrew Marsh was the punt returner for the rest of the game, and then now he's the punt returner for the next two games. So kudos to Moore to make that decision to pull him off the field. I hate this for Samaj, but when you're trying to – people's jobs are at stake, right?
Yep.
And when you're trying to get ready to play an Ohio State team that could potentially be for a playoff berth, you can't afford mistakes like this, whether the refs messed up or not, right?
Yep.
So kudos to them, but I was glad that you brought that pick first and then the fumble, because we talked about it in the Discord as we're watching the game. We're like, hey, if we pick the ball off, this never happens. It's the butterfly effect. Exactly.
Yep. You said it similarly, but my saying was always make the refs irrelevant. That's what I like to say. Of like, if you're playing in a way, you can make refs irrelevant. It is part of your play that you are making the refs relevant.
Somebody in the chat just said she was emphatically excited to make the call too. She was excited.
I am so upset that I saw so many like just hateful comments on Twitter as well. It sucks that it's a woman. Like I'm just going to put that out there. I hate that it's a woman because it's a terrible call. It's a terrible call. And so many people will be like, oh, that's why women shouldn't be refs. It's a terrible call as a ref. All right. I don't care if you're a man, woman, who cares? It's just a terrible call. And it sucks, man. Like I don't want to shit on refs, in general. I just don't want to, but it's like, God, you make me really hard to defend refs when you're calling shit like that. So it's brutal. All right, 1st and 10. Now you get the ball. If you're Northwestern, all right, you got life back in the game. This is a great play of edge discipline. All right, I want to give TJ Guy some kudos because he has a really tough job of holding this edge. Because look at how much open space there is here. So you have safety coming down here, Mason Curtis. So that's going to force the running back to look at the outside. Really good job from TJ Guy keeping that outside arm free, keeping outside contained. So that just buys you time because of that outside contain, and because you have your defensive back flying up as well. I think that's Zeke Berry flying up towards the outside. That's going to force the running back to pause and cut back inside where you have Brandon Hillman. And Brandon Hillman comes down, usually really out of control in these situations. How many times have we seen him miss a tackle like that? That's a dependable tackle. I think they call that the alligator roll, right? Where you wrap up the legs and roll. Perfect, right? Not a big lick, but guess what? That's safe. That's a safety. That's a safe play that a safety should be making.
A safe play from a safety.
That's it, man. You want it to be boring, right? You love a big hit here and there, but this play stopped it right at the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard. That's perfect. So set up from TJ Guy, playing gap sound, keeping that outside arm free. And then everyone else, Mason Curtis helped close this gap. If Mason Curtis isn't here, to fill this gap. The running back's going to, cut up field, maybe go backside here. But Mason Curtis does a good job forcing this outside. And then TJ Guy, Zeke Berry forces that back inside. And it's dependable play from your safety as well. So it's a good job all around. That's what happens when everyone is gap sound and does their job. Doesn't result in like a, oh, wow play, but everyone doing the little things right makes it a forgettable play in a great way for the defense. So now you're 2nd and 9 from a 35, sets up your defense in a good spot. And this is what happens when you don't have lane integrity. All right. So I wanted to do this back to back because, okay, that was a good run defense play. Now what happens when you don't have good contain here? So 2 main things. TJ Guy needs to play with a little bit more ferocity. Okay. I don't know why he's moving to the outside here. It's hard because we have the upright right here. But you need to take on 72. Remember when we saw earlier from the backside, it was an earlier play of Derek Moore constricting down and making contact, right? As soon as you see this guy go out here and you see there's going to be a gap between you and the offensive lineman, close that gap. Meet him there and push him back. You can still keep your outside arm free, but I don't know why he's moving towards the sideline voluntarily. TJ Guy is. That creates the hole. That creates the open space. So that's not thing number 1. Thing number 2, you've essentially turned yourself into a safety if you are Jair Hill. You have to keep your outside arm free as well. Trust that you have safeties coming over to the inside. You need to get up and fill this hole, keep your outside arm free. All right. He doesn't do that. He allows number 6 to get outside. Can't be having that. So misplay from TJ Guy to not constrict that hole by meeting 72 on his pull. And then you need to do a better job if you're Jair Hill. Again, come up. You can constrict this a little bit more. Maybe we'll go to the other view to show this. You can come downhill a little bit more than you did. He essentially is becoming a safety, but he's not coming downhill at all. Just kind of waiting. You need to fill this gap and cut off the amount of space that number 6 has to put a move on you. Doesn't come down quick enough, and then he doesn't keep that outside arm free. So that's what springs this for a first down. So that's tough. That's tough. That sets up Northwestern well to I think they got another field goal in this drive. I don't think I included it, but yeah. So they make it 14-9 here. All right, 2nd and 11, back on offense for Michigan. Ball just past midfield. Really cool play design. I want to include this view because this is the coolest, one of the coolest plays in terms of using motion to adjust the defense's alignment. All right, so you're sending Andrew Marsh across. That's vacating number 9 across. And then I want you to watch where number 6 is before the motion of Kuzdal and after. So right now, he's right on the hash here. Watch when they move Kudzal away. That shifts his alignment over a little bit more over here. I think that's because if there's a potential run here, you are essentially responsible for a gap over here. So you're essentially like, it's changing your assignment, or it's changing your alignment based on whether you have a running back over here or over here. So let's move forward with this view now and look where the pass ends up, the flight of the ball. That flight of the ball is right over the hash mark. So if number 6 is still over here, right? If he's still there, he doesn't have to move to disrupt where that ball is going. But because you shift that over, you're threatening the run here, right? You're threatening this. He has to be responsible for that. His gaps have shifted because of this motion, and that takes him out of the path of this slant. This is where the ball wants to be thrown. So it's just cool to think about, like, Michigan needs to keep in mind of where number 6 will be when you motion different bodies like this, right? So because he has gap responsibility in the run game, that's why number 6 is coming up on that. That opens up that slant for Donovan McCulley. Boom. Almost a touchdown. It's a good ankle tackle here from the cornerback, but that's really cool. Really cool to have these different motions create this sort of possibility for this play. Good ball, good catch, almost able to spring that for a touchdown. But nice play design, really cool to see like this angle of what the motion does to the alignment of these players. Okay. 1st and 10 now on the 18-yard line. Little fake to the jet motion here. Why did I include this play? I see it. Okay. So I don't want to hang up on it too much, but rarely, if ever, do I ever clip a play. I think it's the first time all season where I've told one of either Justice Haynes or in this case Jordan Marshall that he made the wrong cut. Okay. So this play is designed to go the same direction as Samaj Morgan. So the goal is with this fake of the jet sweep is to get like number 18 and get guys flowing that way. And then you're going to have a double team here, climb to this linebacker, and then you're pulling your backside guard coming through, picking up, either number 9 or someone else through the hole. So let's pause at the decision point of where Jordan Marshall is going. You got to follow your guard here. Got to block here. Really, Cuzall should be blocking number 9 here. But if you're following this and you follow your guard, who should be picking up the linebacker here, you got a good lane here up to the safety. All right. Instead, he decides to cut it backside, which I understand. There's a big hole here. But look at the closest bodies. You got number 13 screaming down and number 6, who's about 5-7 yards closer than this safety. So I think it's just a miss of Jordan Marshall reading that, which, again, I've never said that this season. So it's a bummer. It's a bummer because I think he really had something good brewing on the backside. Now, Cuzall doesn't really pick up a block on number 9, so he ends up going, for the safety. So maybe it wouldn't have been as successful if he went this way, but it's at least where the play I think was designed to go. So I disagree with his cutback there. So again, just want to call that out to say that, hey, I do criticize the running back sometimes. It's just they don't leave me many opportunities to.
No, I agree.
Yeah. All right, 2nd and 9, little play action here. Don't want to stay on this one too much, but sometimes it is a play of if you get a good matchup, just throw it up to the guy. Just throw it up. Got Dominic Tonelli here. That guy's too handsy, right? You got one-on-one coverage. Put it up. Let your guy make a play. And in this case, you get pass interference. Number 13, too handsy into the body there of your tight end. Michigan gets the ball, 1st and goal from the 1-yard line, whatever it is, and they punch it in. So I like taking shots like this. One-on-one coverage, especially where number 13 is coming from. He's disadvantaged here, right? He has to follow. That's a tough route. He's not going to be able to get his head around on that. The odds of you getting a penalty flag on this play are really, really high based on the alignment and the route that you're running for this tight end. So I like the play call. Maybe could have made a better play at the ball, but you get a 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. You punch it in. So not going to complain about that. Okay. 2nd and 10 here from the 25, Michigan up 21-9. This is actually like 2nd and 23. It was after a intentional grounding, so the scoreboard was actually wrong on this play. But this one I'm going to chalk up to a lost it in the sun sort of play. It's a bummer. It's a bummer because Mason Curtis actually played this pretty well. Just kind of a deep crossing route, maybe a post route there. Yeah, it's just a deeper post route. And Mason Curtis is all over it. Right? You pause right here. You say, hey, the ball's being thrown here. What do you think is going to happen? And Mason Curtis just overruns it essentially. Yeah. So, I mean, give credit. That's a tough catch. It's a tough catch. That's a decent enough ball. But he's kicking himself there because you were in position to make a play there. Just one-on-one coverage there. Not a bad job. Just got beat, right? That's the one spot the ball could be to be completed and not deflected or intercepted from Mason Curtis. So hat tip. That's a hat tip to the offense. Sometimes it's going to happen. All right, 1st and 10. Northwestern driving now. Little play action. And, man, if there's one thing that Michigan needs to practice time and time again, it's covering the seam. All right, covering the seam.
Yep.
Now I'm willing to bet this is on Troy Bowles, so I have been up on him all game, right? But this one you need to carry him vertical. I think this is just a miss. So I'm not 100% on the rules for his coverage, but he's going to have this tight end come up the seam. I think you at least have to chip him. If not carry him vertical. He doesn't do either, and that's going to leave just a huge gap in the middle of the field. So because he doesn't chip him, that doesn't give enough time for the safety, Brandon Hillman, to react to that sort of play. So if you're able to chip him, then you give time for your safeties there. But because you don't get enough verticality here, you don't get a chip on the tight end, you're putting your safeties in a really tough spot. So yeah, man, that's a young linebacker. Again, I'm still up on him. He's still going to be a good player, I think, for Michigan. Even this season, still they'll depend on him for rotation snaps, but that's a miss. It's a tough play. All right, they'll punch it in there. Go for just the extra point. So it's 21-16, Michigan's ball. 3rd and 9 here on the 26. First really big mistake there for Bryce Underwood on the pick. Really tough. Does get the tackle, so good hustle back getting there. But man, remember when I said that this is just like sort of you called it out. Sorry, you saw the Jekyll and the Hyde. Here we go. Right? He's been pretty good all game. And this one, he never checks what's going on behind. So I think this is probably, I did call out earlier the tendencies of Northwestern in terms of them understanding what Bryce Underwood likes to do. And I think on this sort of sit route, I think Northwestern has clocked that Bryce Underwood really likes to keep his eyes on the midfield like linebacker here, but he fires the ball really quick without checking what's happening backside. So I think in this scenario, Northwestern knows his tendency to, when he's staring here, he's going to look back and fire this. So send your cornerback, time this to this sit route. That's exactly what he does. So he just has a stalker essentially to the backside of saying, hey, he's not going to check that. He's just going to be looking, trying to keep that middle linebacker in place. But in reality, it's a trap. It's a trap. Keep your eyes there. Keep your eyes there. Keep your eyes there. When you throw it, guess what? There's something backside you didn't account for. So that's good scouting. That's good scouting. Knowing the tendency, knowing how to take advantage of a young quarterback like that. So you can see the eyes for number 4 here for Northwestern the entire time. He's just watching the eyes for Bryce Underwood on the middle linebacker. He's just creeping. He's waiting for this route the entire way. And boom, there it goes. So this play, because number 4 is doing that, if you get back over here with your eyes, right, you read this and then you read back over here, you're going to have Samaj Morgan wide open because you're sending this guy deep. That's taking both of these guys, I think it's like cover 3, whatever. You're taking these guys out of the play. They're leaving the flat wide open because of this creeper motion over here of that defensive back. So you just need to do just a quick check if you're Bryce Underwood. Instead of firing that quick, do a quick check over, and that would give you a ton of information of saying, oh, wait a minute. This guy's creeping over here. I'm going to have Samaj Morgan open for a ton of yards if I hit that in the flat. So good scouting. That's good scouting. So give credit to Northwestern for getting Michigan on that one. All right, 1st and 6 now. So after that pick and one play later, able to punch this one in. Not a whole lot to break down on this play, more just, an important play in terms of the momentum shift. I do think I don't call him out for a lot of negative plays, but I think Trey Pierce takes himself out of this play. So let's watch, Trey Pierce getting doubled here. Then he's going to fight to the outside here. He's going to fight to the outside, and I think that was probably the wrong move. I don't think he should have been fighting either way. I think he should have been trying to keep his wits about him, so to speak. So I get it because you have, outside gap here. This is technically the gap for Trey Pierce. So I think he just gives up too much ground fighting to the outside here. And because Ernest Hausman has to fight through a guy coming off a double team here to pick up the linebacker, that leaves this crease. Then the other aspect, the safety just needs to bite quicker. If you're Brandon Hillman, he stays home a little bit too quick. You need to be firing down on this. So I think it's just a beat too late. You need to be firing. You need to be throwing yourself into this as soon as you see the ball here. So he stays planted a beat or two too long. But I do think Trey Pierce takes himself out a little bit, and that forms a little bit too much of a crease for the running back to hit full speed. So now you're down by one. You're going for 2 if you're Northwestern. Michigan did have this play diagnosed here. So it's essentially you got 3 tight ends out here. It's essentially a run play, but you're throwing the ball out here, and you're looking to run behind these 3 big guys on the outside. Michigan does this pretty well where they got these 3 to take on the block, and then you're looping around Troy Bowles to take on this sort of running back there. So you would have had bodies out there, and you have Damon Payne, who would have been following down the line of scrimmage as well. So I think you had it well defended, just a poorly thrown ball. So it remains a 1-point game. Okay, so 1-point game now. Michigan, 2nd and 7. You got 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Jordan Marshall doing his thing. Unfortunately, this is the play he gets hurt on. But man, great run. His ability right there to put his foot in the ground, that is maybe his best quality right there. That right foot, that right jab with that right foot, that is lethal. Breaks the ankles. We're talking ass on grass. All right. You don't need a block to be ass on grass. So really good job. Great block here from 53. Jake Garnera, he had a pretty good game. I think you called it out a lot this year so far of the ability to pick up stunts. Got a little stunt here, outside, inside. Jake Garnera reads that exceptionally well. Watch him pass off a defensive tackle and then pick up that stunter to the inside. That helps form a huge gap there for Jordan Marshall. He makes a safety miss, and then you're off to the races, right? Make another guy miss. He's a player. Just hope he gets healthy, right? That's the number one thing. Probably won't be needed, knock on wood, for Maryland, who hasn't won a game since September. But, yeah, man, he can do things. I like Cudstall, but Jordan Marshall is a different beast. So hopefully he can get healthy. All right, we got probably 10 or so plays left. Let's crank through them. 1st and 10 here after that run. This is Cudstall's first run. Gets 8 or 9 yards. I think it was a bad spot, but he got 8 yards on this one.
Horrible spot.
Yeah, really bad spot. But a couple things I really value from a third running back. Number one is running hard. If you just run hard, hit the hole. So number one, run hard. If you can fall forward most of the time, I'm all about it. Number two, decent vision. I think he has excellent vision. He might have, and this is a hot take, he might have some of the best vision on the team in terms of the running back room. I just don't think he has the ceiling that other running backs in the room have. And then 3, acceleration. That's huge for a running back in general, but he has all 3 of those things. So those things describe, I think, a good running back. To have all of them as your number 3 running back, that's huge. So that's why I really like him as a running back in general. I'm trying to remember who the walk-on was from Ann Arbor, like back in 2016, 2017. It wasn't Drake Harris. There's a guy. I'm going to come up with a name. But there was a walk-on running back that Michigan had that was like number 3 on the depth chart for a year. That was excellent as well. Really reminds me.
Trey Wilson. Steve said his name was Trey Wilson.
I don't know if that's him. Oh, it might have been Trey Wilson. No, it was a guy who got hurt all the time. I'm trying to remember who it was. I do see a little bit of True Wilson, but
True Wilson, my fault. Not Trey. True Wilson.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was True Wilson. I'll come up with it. He had like he had dreadlocks or like really frizzy hair. He wasn't a fullback. I'll find it at the end of this stream. But anyway, I really like this. No, it wasn't Keenan Drake either. No. But that acceleration right here when he gets the ball, This is really good acceleration. He hits that hole really quickly. And he can take a hit. I'll give Northwestern some credit. They were really coming downhill and giving him a beating. So his ability to hit that hole that quick time and time again, this offensive line is clicking enough, especially in this game, to where, there are yards here as long as you hit that hole quick and run hard. And that's what he's doing. And that's all you can ask from your backup, from your third string running back. Maybe it was Drake. It might be Drake. I don't remember that first name. I swear I'll find it at the end of this one. Okay. 2nd and 4, ball in the 30. And man, another mistake here. This one was not not a good read, right? So the previous one was a just not a good. What's that?
The previous one was not checking. This one was saying, "Hold my beer. Let me
exactly.
Let me spice it up a little bit more."
Drake Johnson, that's who it was. All right, Drake Johnson. That's the running back I'm thinking of. I need to pull up his highlights as well just to remember his runs, but his running style, because it all reminds me of Drake Johnson, I think. But I need to go back to verify that. But that is exactly what I was thinking of. Thank you, Darbo, there in the chat. So yeah, man, you're exactly right. This is a hold my beer. I can fire this in there. So this was a, this is the cat and mouse game that is RPO. So number 6, I mentioned at the beginning of this film session, number 6 has been the recipient of the RPOs all game. So this is him playing with the window, right? He's in the window right now. And he's flirting with, I'm going this way to try to bait Bryce Underwood to throwing that, right? He's got a cannon arm. He thinks I can fire this into this. I can make this work. And number 6 realizes, hey, if I take a step here, he's going to read my body language as, he's opening up the lane for me. But then he's going to double back. So it's a good play from number 6. Good play. Fake, boom, get back in the window. So good job. Good job. Give him a lot of credit, right? You appropriately manipulated the eyes here of Bryce Underwood, thought he was vacating, right, going to the wrong window. That's what Bryce Underwood is thinking when he sees that step of number 6. But number 6 had a trick up his sleeve, able to get that interception. So that's tough, man. That's your fifth turnover of the game, man. That's tough to swallow, right? Especially when you're gaining ground, you're doing everything you should. Now you're starting to fight the clock. 8:10 left, 3rd and 5 here. This one, all right. I really, really, really like to see this from Jordan Young. I was really tough on him earlier in the year I think he was played when he wasn't ready. Gave up one big pass down the seam that he didn't play well on. I love the sideline just losing their mind at him. This is a huge play. Yeah. Huge play. And Michigan's coaching staff, this is getting more like philosophical. They have to clock like, hey, if we think these guys are going to be someone down the line, we need to be playing them, and we need to be playing them at critical moments in a lot of these games. That's what will keep them around, keep them on the roster with the transfer portal, things like that. We need to play young guys, and we need to play them often in order to keep them here. So this is no wasted movement. Steve Horn go ahead.
The Mikey play. This is what Mikey did in the Ohio State game against the tight end they had.
Yeah, exactly. Cade Stover.
Yeah, Cade Stover.
This is just really, really good technique from Jordan Young. So he's stalking. As soon as he recognizes the route, boom, flips his hips. And look at the path he's on. There's no wasted movement here. As soon as he flips and goes, puts his head down, and then boom, goes right at the hands. That is, you cannot do any better technique than what he does here. We can't really see it on this one, but he gets on his horse, gets over to the spot, and that is exceptional. So for a player, right, that had a really, I think was played early and trying to, just trying to tread water is essentially it. Where you're a young guy, it's a tough system, it's a brand new game. The game is way too quick for you to come and make this play. That is huge. That is huge for him, for his confidence. I'm sure he's putting in a lot of work at practice, and now to have a play like this manifest in an actual game in a critical spot in a game, that's everything, man. So yeah, excellent to see. I'm really, really happy for him more than anything else, because it's got to be.
Look at Morgan back there.
Oh yeah, they're losing it. Oh, that's great. So yeah, that's huge. You get the ball back if you're Michigan. 7 minutes to go, 2nd and 4. All right, they're driving towards midfield. Little play action here, and this one I mean I don't know how Andrew Marsh stayed on his feet there, but I really like Michigan going back here to just get him on the move, and just a nice pitch and catch here to Andrew Marsh. So nothing too crazy. Like the route is, I think, threatening kind of a similar like wheel route that Michigan did earlier, right? Kind of looks like he's doing that, but then he's just going to sit down, kind of like a wheel hitch. I don't know what you call that, but a wheel sit essentially. So this is kind of building on what you did previously in this game. We saw one wheel route that was successful that Michigan capitalized on. There was another one that Andrew Marsh was open on. So this is kind of building on those concepts, but then he's just sitting down, right? So you're kind of, even though some of those, one of those earlier wheel routes from Marsh wasn't successful, you can still learn from that. You can still build off of that and capitalize on what the defense's reaction is going to be to that kind of route. So that's clever. That's good coordinating as an offense. And man, what athleticism to stay up after the catch there. Okay, moving the ball, 2nd and 10 on the 33-yard line, 6 minutes left. Cuz is all. Again, look at that acceleration. Nothing special, right? You're not asking him to make a huge cut against, you don't need him to be a game changer. You just need him to make the right decision. All right. Like I don't expect him to be a home run hitter, but this is the right call here. It's just zone blocking. It's like a stretch left run. You can see the play here is to get a double team and then climb to the linebacker, everyone backside, right? Just don't let anything through. And then you tell them just go and then hit. And as soon as you decide the hole, get upfield and hit that quickly. And I like how he cuts off the butt here of El Hadi. So he recognizes El Hadi. This is the hole. And he cuts off the butt here. So he recognizes the momentum of a lot of guys on the second level is going to be moving to the left. So he clocks that, puts his foot in the ground right here, just a subtle cut, and goes off the butt there of El Hadi. So that's just, it's good vision. Picks him up an extra couple yards there of making that extra cut. So the thing that I just keep coming back to, Cron Higdon was excellent at having really good acceleration off of his, like putting his foot in the ground and kind of just like right there, that attribute where it just looks like he's kind of teleporting right there through that hole. That is really fast. And that is really good. I don't know how he was a preferred walk-on. This guy would be an excellent starting MAC running back, like a star MAC running back. So Michigan, I don't even think he had any offers to go anywhere. I think he was either preferred walk-on option at a couple schools, Michigan involved. So that is just really great because that acceleration with that vision, again, it's not special, but it is he's going to be a guy. I'm really excited about him. All right, 4th and 1 here. I mentioned, so I was wrong before at the last pick. I said it was the 5th turnover. That was only the 4th. This is the 5th. And 4th and 1, man, you can't. You're driving the field, you just can't have that.
And that's on your quarterback, by the way.
It is. I have the angle. That ball should not be up at his shoulder pads. Shouldn't. It's the quarterback's responsibility. I get it. His eyes are elsewhere, right? So you might be keeping it. But it's your job as the quarterback to recognize, hey, who's my running back here? How tall is he? Right? And you need to adjust that mesh point. That's the quarterback's responsibility, is to adjust that mesh point based on who the personnel is, who the running back is. That's just too high. It's in the back of his hand. All right. So that's on Bryce Underwood. So, I mean, they're going to practice it more, right? Especially with Jordan Marshall day to day and likely not going to be playing against Maryland. But man, that is just, it's a killer. It's a killer. And that's why when you look at all like the fancy stats and everything, it's like, yes, Michigan was dominating play to play. Like they were getting pretty much what they wanted on offense. They just couldn't hold on to the damn ball. It's just, oh my gosh, it's just infuriating. So yeah, man, that's brutal. That's a brutal way to end this drive. Now, luckily, again, you're just fighting the clock at this point because it's like eventually we'll hang on to the ball enough to get points, but you need to get the ball back here. So 2nd and 20 here for Northwestern. And this is a great play from Cam Brandt. All right. I've been dogging on him, I feel like, all season. I promise I don't try to, but he is an athletic big man. All right. And he tracks down the line of scrimmage really fast for a guy his size. All right. So he forces the running back kind of to double back, and that's okay. Right. That's okay. Because you have other bodies as well backside here. So Cam Brandt does a really good job running that down backside and able to force a big loss here. Puts him in 3rd and impossible, essentially. So,
yep.
Good job play side. There's not a lot going on play side either. Everyone is doing their jobs as well. But Cam Brandt gets in the backfield so quick and goes down the line of scrimmage, right? Just go down the line of scrimmage. Just scare him away from continuing on his path. And that's what he does. He's terrified to continue on his path because he sees this big boy coming. And then you got the cavalry coming elsewhere. So that's a good job from him for a player who I think it has been struggling a little bit this season. And that seems to be a common theme. You got him, you got Troy Bowles showing up, you got Jordan Young showing up. So starting to see a lot of these guys who, maybe haven't been playing or missed a couple plays. They're really showing up towards the end of the season. You're going to need that. You're going to need that, especially with injuries. They're happening all over college football, not just Michigan. You need depth. These guys are providing that. All right, 3rd and 10 here for Michigan. Probably play of the game if you're not counting a game-winning field goal. But this is an NFL throw and NFL catch. I mean, holy cow. I don't even know how you would think to attempt this throw. This is insane. All right. Because even number 33 is there's no throw that's going to the outside here. But at this point, it's just kind of you get flush from the pocket here. If you're Bryce Underwood, he steps up a little bit and on the run makes this throw to the sideline. And I think it's good in the NFL as well.
It is. It was 2 feet down in the NFL.
You watch this. Ball is secure now. And you got both feet there. You got both toes. Crazy, man. Crazy athletic catch. I need to extend this on a little bit more. Oh, is it not going? Oh, my computer doesn't like it. But anyway, holds on to the catch through contact. Just a crazy, crazy catch, man. This is next level stuff. All right. To keep your hand under the ball in that scenario as well to secure it. That's gift. That's a gift. The dude's gifted. All right. So that is something else. All right. Let's watch where he's looking when he's throwing this ball here. So it looks like he's reading 33. Looks like he's probably that's where the eyes of Bryce Underwood are going. So you have this sort of out route here looking to go to Marlon Klein. As he starts to roll out, he then shifts. So, his third, what is it? 3rd and 10. So Marlon Klein, I don't think is at the sticks. Yeah. He's a little bit short there. So he has to throw this to Andrew Marsh in order to get the first down. So I think number 33 recognizes that as well, where he's playing this of hey, you can throw it to Marlon Klein, right? He's just saying, hey, I'm going to be able to pick this off, right? So that's why he's going this way. He doesn't think there's a possibility of a throw outside of him. He just doesn't think that's possible. And I didn't either. I saw the throw. I was just there's no way. But yeah, man, this Marsh kid, he's special. That is a special catch.
Right down here in
that's
Houston,
crazy.
Texas suburbs, Katy, Texas.
That is special. All right, 3rd and 5 here. Michigan driving 37. 37-yard line. Little rollout here. Nice job. Nice job for Bryce Underwood making a good cut upfield. Looking at his eyes. He's looking to the left there. Doesn't like what he sees with 88 there. Tonelli ducks out here to the right. Now, should he have thrown this ball? It's tough because you did have Dom McCauley, one-on-one out there. But third down and you see open grass like this, at this point, you let your quarterback just go and get it. So I'm not going to discourage him in this scenario. You didn't really – it looks like this is well covered all around. Now, maybe if you stuck on Tonelli 88 right here instead of ducking out, he kind of looked away from this on this sort of out route here for Tonelli at the sticks. This is an option. If you threw it right at the end of his break here, you probably could have completed that. But he came off of that a little bit early, and then he just ducked out. But hey, he made a play. All right. So in this sort of situation, I'm not gonna discourage him from making that decision for picking up that first down. All right, and then the last play from scrimmage outside the field goal, 3rd and 5. So this is an important play just to burn some clock. And Cuzzel does his best Jordan Marshall impression, just trying to barrel forward a little bit. So at this point, this is all about just like get your yards, okay? Just like get as many yards as you possibly can. And from this view, there's not a lot there, right? There's not a lot there, and I don't see many better options for Cuzzel either. But I like that he accelerates and just puts his nose in there, right? Whatever happens, I'm going to put my foot on the accelerator until I see a first down or death, whatever. Just go for it. And that's what I love to see as a part of a running back. It's not going to be perfect, right? Just barrel in, though. And he just barrels in with that acceleration, and it'll carry you through, right? He finds a way. That's huge. That helps ice the game because you're able to get that first down. You have your timeout where you can run the clock down and leave it to the final snap for your kick. So this leaves no time for Northwestern to do anything, right? The ball is ending with the game is ending with your field goal attempt here. So that's an important play. Otherwise, you may not be able to do that. So, and you make the field goal a little bit closer as well. So that's a good job from Cuzzel. And then you got obviously the game winner here from your struggling kicker, and he kicks it out of the damn stadium, out of the ballpark. All right, kicks it out of there. They carry him out of the field. I saw some people like, oh, you're carrying your kicker off after beating a 5-4 team, and it's like, all right, just let him enjoy the moment. All right, just kick the game-winning field goal. All right, if I kick a game-winning field goal, carry me off. All right, so no, these are college kids having fun, and guys struggled, right? So God forbid you lift them up when after two missed field goals on the day. Nice to have him be the hero. So
I think he needed to see that for his confidence.
100%, he did, and I feel like this was a game where you learned a lot. All right. You got like a crash course for Bryce Underwood and RPO. Like it felt like he went through so many different RPO plays of not just reading the, who's in the area, but also their body language, having a reckoning with they're going to try to, teams now know my tendencies. I need to break those once in a while to make myself less predictable. So we're getting just levels upon levels upon levels here. So you got a lot of players stepping up now. Cam Brandt had a big play. Jordan Young had a big play. Joey Bowles is becoming more dependable. So a lot of young guys starting to show out, a lot of things progressing over the season in a way that has you encouraged. So even though it was ugly, you don't want this game to come down to a game-winning field goal. Again, you got to treat this kind of similar to the Purdue game. You survived. All right. You passed it. You're still in the conversation. All right.
Survive in advance.
You survive in advance. It's all you can do. All right. It's not pretty, but this game will be forgotten if you continue to win. All right. This game won't be it'll be a footnote. It doesn't define your season. So,
well, we kept it short today, guys. We kept the episode under 2:30, which is something that me and Toski's been trying to do all season. So partially is because I shut my big mouth up and I let the guru lead us through this. What I want to say to close us out, uh, we're gonna see. We're going live Tuesday regardless, right? Because next week is the holiday. I don't want Toski doing anything on a Wednesday night. Thanksgiving is the next day. People starting to get with their family. So we're going live Tuesday night, whether we have the Maryland film or not. If we do not have the Maryland film, I've already sent Toski some good videos, some good film on Ohio State. We know that it will be hate week. It will be the game week. I think getting to know some of the players that you may see that'll flash on that Michigan Ohio State game later on next weekend will be important. I think it'll help you guys when you're watching it. They have some dogs, Caleb Downs, Arville Reese. I mean, they have NFL players at each level, right? So I just want to set that expectation. We're definitely going live on Tuesday because I'll actually be traveling Wednesday, so it has to happen Tuesday. Hopefully we have the Maryland film. If we have the Maryland film, perfect. We'll do Maryland film. We'll talk a little bit about Ohio State. We'll move on. But if we don't have the Maryland film, we will do an Ohio State breakdown. I'm excited for this weekend. Another opportunity for us to get better. Michigan fans tend to show up in College Park, so I expect this to be just as many Michigan fans that were at Wrigley Field. I expect them to be in Maryland too. A lot of alum live in the DC area. Bryce will have another chance to prove that he's taking the right steps. I think Devin Gardner said on his podcast earlier this week, he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable again. Seems like that confidence. Chip's not asking him to do a lot. And if you remember the game plans, when we play Ohio State, we never ask our quarterbacks to do a lot. We didn't ask them to do a lot last year. And when we had a capable quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, we didn't ask him to do a lot either. And so this, as much as I hate to say it, this tells me that, okay, next weekend, and we got to still get through this weekend. I don't want to just overlook Maryland. But next weekend, they're not going to ask Bryce to go out there and win the game on his own. This is going to be a Jordan Marshall Cousdale special, and maybe Bryce hits a couple RPOs or deep passes down the way. They do not want him turning the ball over against Ohio State because the key to winning that Ohio State game is to shrink possessions, right? And so I look forward to it. This week, I got Michigan beating Maryland. I'm going to go 24-10. I think we see a lot of Cousdale. I think we see a lot of Bryce run because I think they want to put that on film the week before the Ohio State game, maybe give Patricia a little bit more to have the game plan for the week. And I think the one thing we should all be praying for this week is that we get out that game healthy. We don't need no more injuries, right? We already banged up enough. We don't need any more injuries. So let's just go about our business. Let's not make this harder than what it needs to be. This team hasn't won a game like Toski said since September. I watched this team let Washington come back from a 21-point deficit to beat them in College Park. So let's call this what it is. Let's go handle business, and then we can get ready for the game next week. I'm super excited. Toski, anything you got before we let the people go?
I'm going to call it 24-13. That's what I got. Or let's call it 27-13. All right, 27-13. Okay.
So they cover. You got them covering just like I do. So I look forward to Tuesday, same time. We'll put the flyer out. Sorry it was kind of late this time, but we'll put the flyer out. If you guys can do me a favor for the people that are here on Twitter, on Facebook, on Facebook, on YouTube, please go like, subscribe to the channel, send the video out. I want to get these views up because what Toski is doing is something that I know it helps me understand the game at a deeper level, right? And it makes it enjoyable when I'm watching the game and future games. So let's hype this up. And also subscribe over to the Amazing Blue Review with Josh and Trevor. It's $1 right now. You get it for 7 days. This is the perfect time to subscribe. We get recruits. Next week will be the biggest recruiting weekend in Michigan's probably last 2 or 3 years. There's going to be some surprise visitors in. There always is. You want to be up to date on that type of thing so you know who's on campus. Pay the $1. I promise you, you won't even think about it. And after that, it's $9.99. I just spent $10 at Starbucks today grabbing a coffee. So $9.99, you get it for the month, and you get articles and you get information. Trust me, it's worth it. All right. I appreciate you guys for pulling up, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you. Steve, Sam, looks like Luca, Darbo, you guys are always interactive. We appreciate you guys for that. And finally, go Blue.
Go Blue. Thanks, guys.